Do you have a list of machines and sometimes lose track of their various statuses?
They want to document the maintenance and repair of their machines directly at the machine.
How does that work? Find out now. Welcome to the Co-Focus on Maintenance. I'm glad you're here. My name is Lars van Stralen.
Hello from me too. I'm Daniel from Sonnenheim.
Before we dive into the software, we want to give you a quick overview where we are in the Babtec module landscape. To visualize this a bit, we brought a slide with us. You can already see the various Babtec modules that are available. The module we're looking at today is the maintenance module, and the various functions within the maintenance module are the topic for today's Q-Focus. Software, Daniel, should we get started?
I would say let's dive straight into the software and jump into the overview of our machines in the system. Although machines might not necessarily be the right term, we had to choose a word. Now, but of course other resources can also be listed here. The classic examples might be the fire extinguisher, the server, or even the coffee machine.
These various resources, if we summarize them under one term, are then within this list. You can filter this list that you say, I only want the resources or /machines. We will now always refer to them as machines in the future. You can filter this list, you can search, you can sort, all the things you know from classic lists that can be managed within IT systems. Let's take a closer look at one of the machines and switch to the actual editing mode of this machine. You can already see a classic Windows dialog with various fields that can be filled out.
It starts with the machine number, the machine type, as well as other fields that, for example, are not bolded. The top two, those are our mandatory fields that we simply need so that the system runs. The ones behind that, you can decide for yourself whether to fill them out or not. And you can also decide whether they should even be displayed here or not. We provide a standard software here where you have the option to change the layout itself. For example, the owner or the cost center. If you don't need them, just hide them. Maybe you also need an additional field like a checkbox or a drop-down field with your own catalog. You can also implement that yourself. With the appropriate user rights, you can customize the layout in this interface yourself. Technically speaking, we're still sticking to the standard laws, right?
Correct. The standard is the driving force behind this. This also means that the standard software running in the background can easily be updated to a new version. An update is being installed without affecting any of the adjustments that you made yourself in any way. That means the hidden fields will stay hidden, or the newly created fields that you added are still exactly at the point in the screen mask where they positioned it for the first time.
But the core element of maintenance consists of the maintenance plans. The maintenance plans define how a maintenance task is to be carried out and in what interval or interval type such maintenance is carried out. In this case, we have a maintenance step. It's called cleaning, and it's carried out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The duration of the maintenance work is 1 hour. I set that directly in the maintenance plan.
Each of these steps that is recorded in the maintenance plan can, of course, have a different interval. For example, if I go to the check, then you can see that I have a monthly schedule here. Right. The oil change is also carried out monthly, but only once on the last day of the month, which is displayed here accordingly.
Where the oil change might also be a good example of maintenance that may not be subject to a specific time interval. Depending on how long a machine has been running, so operating hours or how much it has produced, do I need to do the oil change maybe earlier or later? So rather dynamic, reacting, and besides the time scheduling, we can also automatically generate maintenance orders based on operating hours or produced quantities. Then, of course, another system has to transmit this information to us. The machine can do that itself, or maybe a BDE system is in use. That transmits this information to Babtec.
There are cases where it makes sense to assign more than one maintenance plan to a machine. Then take, for example, plastic injection molding machines. Then there is a maintenance plan for plastic injection molding machines, which you can assign to each of the plastic injection molding machines. Some of the machines have the capability to inject 2K. Then there might be a special maintenance plan that is only meant for 2K machines. You would assign that as the second maintenance plan to the 2K machines. assigned to Maintenance Plan 1 and Maintenance Plan 2. And within the planning, all maintenance steps from both maintenance plans are taken into account.
From these maintenance plans, the maintenance tasks are now created. I can now see the maintenance tasks applicable to this machine directly in the workflow at the machine.
The workflow is a list of maintenance orders, which are displayed here. You can already see I'm not very diligent in that regard. That's why I only have red statuses at this point that are displayed, because all these steps are currently overdue.
These red statuses are now collected and aggregated in the upper area to show the machine status. That means when these lights turn red down below, the machine status will also turn red. I can also display the status in the list view to get an overview of the status of all my machines without having to open the master data directly.
Daniel, it would be nice if everything always went according to plan at this point. If the maintenance plan really wins and I always had a great forecast that happened in the next 14 days, because that's how it is. But now there are also events. You know yourself that something within your machine park stands out negatively. There is a malfunction, the occurrence. How do I deal with that?
Exactly. So unplanned work that needs to be done, or generally first, would we like to give you the opportunity to report this malfunction as well? And to report malfunctions directly to the maintenance personnel, there are various options in the system for how you can do that. For example, use the inspection planning from Babtech and are currently in the production inspection to measure parts and find out that the machine is not functioning correctly. Can I do that directly in the inspection data recording? There is a dialog next to it to report a new issue directly related to the machine.
Alternatively, of course, if I'm within the maintenance module, if I have a specific machine open, I can create a new issue directly in this machine dialog at the push of a button. No problem. However, I need that for Babtech Q software. That means I need the software to be running. I have to be logged in. I need the installation to either carry out this in the data entry module or in the maintenance module. Actually, there is also a third way that we have for you. That doesn't need the Babtech Q software, but rather, Daniel,
a web browser that allows me to report my issues or submit my issue reports on the go. That means I don't need either a Windows device, either a desktop computer or a laptop to access the Babtech Q Go interface. A regular standard web browser is enough, like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or Safari. That means I'm also independent of devices. So you can do that on your MacBook, on my Android phone, or on my iPad, like I have here with me right now. And we want to show you how to do that. That means when I'm on the go and I'm right by the machine and notice that something is wrong, I immediately submit an issue report. And now we're going to report an issue directly on my mobile device. For that, I'm now using the Safari browser, and up here in the top right, I have the option to create a new issue report. We're creating that. First step, what I'm doing here is determining which machine I'm standing by. For that, I'm accessing the list of machines that are available to me. We're now selecting 10104, the machine we just looked at. Then we will record the error. That means something is being determined here. What's wrong here? That means I select from the error catalog the noises. That sounds strange, out. And then I finally add my note so I can state it in writing again. What is this issue report about? Noises during the machine startup. I'll save the rest because I don't know the reason yet, or further descriptions. This is meant to provide a hint for now. Something is wrong with the machine. Finally, I'm going to raise the priority because I believe it will be more than just one piece of information if it sounds that strange. Then I create the error report by selecting Create New Error Reports.
Okay, you just said that it was saved, and now this error report is in the Babtech database as a new record.
Right, exactly. And now there are different ways to involve the maintenance personnel. The classic is, of course, sending an email notification. The email then states which machine is having issues. It includes a link that takes me directly to the machine. Although the use of email is declining, because our customers say we get so many emails, we would prefer to use a different way to convey current information to us, to take care of oneself.
And this alternative way, that's a dashboard topic. We've brought that to you before. So we've switched back to my personal computer, and I'm now currently here within my Babtech Q software. And you can currently see here within the dashboard that there are 8 error reports. That's still an old status. I explicitly did not update. If I update this dashboard now, then this number currently changes to 9 error reports. By the way, you can configure that this update happens automatically. Of course, I've turned that off now explicitly. And this tile within this dashboard shows that there are now 9 error reports. I can also use it for navigation. By double-clicking, the system now switches from the dashboard view to the list view of the error reports. And here you can see there's also the error report for the noise development, which is listed here as well. By double-clicking or confirming with Enter, I now switch to the detail view of this error report, which is displayed here.
This error report now contains the information that I entered through the browser. Now it's Lars's job to decide whether he says, okay, that's completely normal, that it makes noises on Friday afternoons, she's looking forward to the weekend, or it actually has a defect. That means he can either acknowledge the error report or, of course, follow up with actions. In this case, create a new repair order and address it directly. That someone and what needs to be done.
I'm doing it now. I can now create a new repair order with a mouse click. By first taking care of the scheduling, let's do the whole thing. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock we start and also finish tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And as a work step, I will select the system check. The information that this is a repair order and how it will be done for the machine CNC004 has been taken over from the malfunction report. I don't have to worry about that. Okay? Am I now switching to the detail dialog where I can add more specific information or additional details to this repair order for the employee? What needs to be done? For example, I can say, okay, I have a special machine here and I want to assign this special machine using an image for this repair order. And then let's just add a note here in red, just a little bit thicker, that the system check should refer to this system unit here. And next to this image, I can also add some text that gives the repair order instructions again. What do I expect as a planner for this repair order from my employee? I save this and have now also stored this repair order back in the SQL database. Planning is done and finished.
The order is now in the database, as you said, so there are now many orders, which are both maintenance and possibly repair orders. To get an overview here and maybe also to prioritize orders or set other responsibilities, are there specific decision orders in this area that provide me with lists? So all the orders that have been processed so far and will still be processed in the future, list. So that one, the list view is rather suboptimal for time planning, for scheduling. That's why you can use the planning assistant to get a calendar view that we have now divided by resources in our case. This means I see 2 employees who currently have various orders under their responsibility and an area of orders that have not yet been assigned to any employee. And Lars will carry that out now.
This positioning, this scheduling is now actually done simply by drag and drop. So I can now go ahead and this scheduled repair order here, just a little note, you can see repair orders in orange, maintenance orders in blue. This repair order that I scheduled for tomorrow is currently not assigned to anyone. I'm taking this now by drag and drop and moving it to the person Daniel. If I were to let go now, this repair order would be assigned exactly where I had planned it in time, assigned to Daniel. Now I'm saying, well, I don't want the whole thing to take place on Thursday. I would like that to happen on Friday afternoon because I can handle the downtime better then. So I will just drag and drop it back to Friday afternoon. And by releasing the mouse button, that's what I just did. This information will now also be stored centrally in the SQL database. And with that, this repair order is now scheduled for Daniel on Friday afternoon.
The overview now shows me the red repair orders and the planned maintenance. How do I deal with orders now that are not repairs but also don't really fit into a maintenance schedule? I'm thinking of something like a software update for my machine, for example, that I want to plan in advance, but I don't know exactly when that will be.
I can handle that with so-called ad hoc orders. And these ad hoc orders can also be added here in this graphical view. For example, I can say, yes, Jens here has nothing to do at Doorsander. So I will do it here. 1 p.m. right-click to simply create a new maintenance order, either for a software update or a repair order, schedule, and all that we are about to show you. So the processing and status reporting continue one-to-one, exactly the same.
To process the order, I obviously need to go to the machine. And it's useful if I have a mobile device with me where I carry out the documentation. In this case, we'll take the iPad again, because here on the iPad we have an overview of ongoing orders. In this case, I now see the repair order, that last set up for me here. We're going in taking a look at what the order is about. On the left side, I see the key details of the machine, meaning which machine are we talking about, who is responsible, where is this machine located. And in the instructions section, I can see what additional information Lars has provided me. On one hand, textual information, but also because it might be a complex machine. Here's another image to take a closer look at a specific area. I've already put the order in progress. That means the time is running now, and I will start with the documentation. In this case, we found an adapter piece in the machine. That has now been removed. The machine is no longer making any noises. And I will now document this fix. The first thing I do is remove the piece that caused the error, take a photo. Since I'm using an iPad that has a camera, I can do this right here. Here is our adapter piece. Let's take a photo of it. Done. I'll add that and attach it to the repair. Additionally, I want to document everything in writing. So I will also write a text here. What I did was replace the other piece, and this is documented accordingly. Finally, I will close the order, because now I have resolved the issue, and the machine is repaired again. After I successfully completed the order, the system immediately alerts me that there is a fault report that is still open. That means the fault report that we initially triggered. I can also directly participate in the decision-making process, that we can close the fault report. This is the case this time because the machine is no longer making any noises after the repair. And the fault report has now been resolved. In conclusion, so that I also have something from this data. For long-term consideration, I have the option to document the error as well as the cause in a catalog-based manner. We already mentioned the error at the beginning. We haven't done that yet. So let's refer to the cause catalog. In this case, we had a clogged spray head that then led to it that we now also have the noises and had to carry out the replacement of the adapter piece. So the spray head is clogged. That's all information based on your own catalog data, that is your causes, your errors, but also B, they can be used to make a long-term assessment. So evaluations and analyses can be done on the topic of operating in a faulty condition. Done. Attention closed, fault report closed. My work on site is now done. I hand it back to Lars.
I'll pick up on what you just said, Daniel, and you might have already heard it. Analysis, long-term assessment, evaluation. You have worked with catalog data so that such evaluations are possible. And we brought another example with us to also finally show you what can I do with the data that is stored in the SQL database. How can I merge and visualize the data right now? For that, I'll take them back to my computer. I'm still in my dashboard. But I've already prepared this here, and a module for evaluations has been opened. And within this evaluation module, there are various standard evaluations that we provide to you, all set. I'll pick out an evaluation. Here, the fault report per machine could now be adjusted after a double click. Which of the data stored in the SQL database should be used? So, a filter function, in case I say please only show fault reports that correspond to a certain priority or were recorded only in the last 6 months, or I'm not doing it now. I just click on open and all the data I have here will be pulled from the database and a standard evaluation will be opened.
Wow, spectacular bar chart. It doesn't blow me away. We can definitely do a little something there.
What do you expect? So you have wishes now that this standard evaluation should look different, right?
Exactly. I would wish for that we might look at the entire machine fleet or the machine types instead of just the individual machines, and maybe also a bit by priority. That means we have captured this information in a catalog-based manner. And that's why we can access this information exactly through the pivot mode here and change our evaluation ourselves. That means we will now define the x-axis and the y-axis according to our own criteria. Place machine types on y-axis, machine types and the We'll set the priority on the x-axis so that we can create a completely different evaluation here.
That should already be the data content. What you had in mind. Is the evaluation ready for you then? Can we leave it like this?
I already like the table below because it shows exactly what I'm looking for. But for the graphical evaluation, I would wish for a different way of presenting it. And I could really get creative with the display options. Here, 3D bars, networks. But let's stick to the basics and use the pie chart because that offers a good mix of clear evaluations and also a good overall representation of the values.
Now, of course, they want this configuration of the evaluations that we just carried out. So here, to activate this pivot mode, to swap fields back and forth, or also the graphical evaluation here in the upper area that we changed doesn't have to be reset every time. That means you have the option to save what's called favorites here. And this configuration, as we have set it up to store one-to-one in the database and your list of evaluations that we provide to expand it with your own evaluations. And these custom evaluations can then be opened like how it can be opened with a double click in live data. So they are always online with the current data that is stored in the database.
So that the evaluation not only shows live data, but can also be used dynamically. Can the evaluation be used in a classic way during this monthly review meeting to also find out what things might be related to, how things are connected? That means we could take a look at the CNC machine now. It has produced a certain number of faults, and we can directly retrieve these faults from this table with a double click. Here we can see an overview of all the faults of this machine type, and the one we created today can also be seen directly down here.
Double click on the fault report. This switches me to the detail mode for this fault report. This fault report has triggered a repair order that Daniel has processed, and this connection can now be used here for further navigation by saying, okay, from this fault report, I switch to the actual repair order that is in the background.
To find out now why this machine has generated a repair order again, or how many it might have had in total, could I take the shortcut directly to the machine up there? So here the machine is of course linked to the order as well. From here we could also briefly touch on a second topic, the machine history. Finally, let's take a look at this. The machine history is a function that builds up completely independently. That means everything that happens with the machine, that maintenance is started, is completed, that fault reports exist, or that a status of a machine is changed, is fully documented here in the history.
That wraps up the software presentation. I hope we were able to pique your curiosity. I hope we were able to show you one or another feature that has excited you. If that's the case, just get in touch with us. Go to the website, fill out the contact form, or maybe you already have a sales consultant that you can contact directly. These are the ways you can quickly get in touch with us. We would be very happy.
Which we would also be happy about is if you leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos.
Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.